Boo. All right, we're back, and we got audio.
We live, baby.
What up, y'all? How's everybody doing?
What's up, everybody?
This is the Legends of Winter edition of Dastardly Worlds. So
Cold in here.
it is cold in here. It's cold out there in crypto too, yet again. Alt season, not so much. A good pump in the markets from a good area and price, yeah, we talked about that. But the fact that so many people ready for alt season tells you that just isn't the way a bull market works.
Nope.
So how's everybody doing? You guys learned a lot from the last couple shows. DMI special, learning to read markets where you participate in products, looking at yourself as part of the price. Have you guys played with any of these ideas since the last shows? Tell us a little bit about, what you've tried out, or ask us some questions from what you've learned. I'm curious to see where you guys are with that. You've had a week or so, actually a couple weeks to go over some of those ideas in the last show. So what kind of questions do you guys have from doing it? What up, Critical Mass? A spec booger on the bits.
Homework time.
It's homework time. Well, yeah, let's see what kind of homework you guys do. You have a lot of time to think on this. So what happened? Big Mac, really cool to understand the workings. Big Mac, as in the MACD. I'm guessing that's what that is. How about any of the rest of you guys? Glad to have you here, Quail. Okay, I don't know how to say that. Quail? Who put the Q and the W back to back? I'm almost positive that doesn't work.
Wow.
Yeah. Booger doubling up. Respect.
Critical Mass asking, are this the Ray-Ban?
Ray-Ban VR glasses? No, but there are probably going to be some augmented reality glasses coming out in the marketplace if you guys have been looking at some of the stuff in chats we posted. AR games and such.
You posted your mobile gaming too.
DL streams videos. What is your screening process? For what? For people that come into the chat, don't be an asshole. Oh, to find shockwaves to isolate? Have you been watching any of the past shows? We go over looking at trends and looking at shockwaves and trends quite a bit in many of the shows. Don't know how to spell it? Awesome. Simply put, DL streams, identify trends and trade markups that come from shockwaves within them. What up, Energy Effects? How you doing? Legends of Winter.
Have y'all got questions?
Do you go through billion charts, use a screener? I have various sites that I look at. I have a basket of websites I go through to filter stuff out, and screeners are built into my brokerage platform also. But just tracking what asset classes are moving, what sectors are moving. I have arrangements in TradingView also that let me go through things pretty quick. Market is booming. Which market's booming? There are a lot of markets out there. Which one are you talking about? Outback Bandit on this. That's not Bandy, huh? On this channel right here. If you've been watching, if you've been following this station, put out a couple shows back to back. One of the last ones is still up there, the last Dastardly Worlds. And we did a market review in that one also if you've watched last week's show. But all the shows that we do, we generally look over the markets at some point and, talk about different ideas also in markets. Some of the crypto. Who said crypto? That's a different guy.
The guy that says market is booming.
Oh, crypto's booming? Really? It boomed for like a fucking week and a half and then smashed everybody in the face again.
So reactionary, man.
So tier 3 energy effects, yeah, we're not doing through Twitch anymore. We're just gonna drop links in the shows and in Facebook, and everybody that wants to get in there first has to come through the Twitter Discord, which is the free public channel. Because we definitely have a lot of CT shitbags and trolls that keep coming in there, so we'd like to meet you first before it goes anywhere else. We know you, so talk back to me when that time comes for you. But yeah, just hit the link, find your way back in there, and we'll talk and figure that part out. But yeah, there's no more direct access to that. Too many fucking weirdos.
Too many.
Got ridiculous. Logistic nightmare.
We got weirdos.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I know. I just try to do a show about markets, and it seems to attract all these weirdos. I don't know what I'm doing. Totally normal show about markets. I mean, what the fuck else could you want? So let's see. Let's look at some stuff here. Let's see what's going on. This is the Coinbase chart, which has an overlay for. Oof, that was weird. You see that?
What happened?
It looked crazy.
Oh, dude.
So, Shockwave is definitely changing shape to this part of the gold cycle. And it's one thing I told you guys even when this was first being mapped out, like don't follow it to the bar. It gives you a rough outline of like kind of where you should be. But it is taking a time period that is concerning for, the whole planet's kind of aware of the gold cycle now, so it's not scarce. So still paying attention to it though, and watching the timing of it. At this range, gave it as far as, November even, before it was leaving the top of this range if it was gonna. But yeah, it's definitely changed shape a lot with it. So you've got kind of just like, a trading wedge right now you're watching. And you have to redraw this. Like this is the original angle I drew down. To be honest though, until he sets a low that breaks this level here, this is the last high I care about. This is the last high that generates a new low from the all-time low, all-time high here. So until that happens, I won't really redraw anything. He is just chopping the trend line from the top. That is accurate. Let's see. So the map that we left on top of Phoenix, the classic levels that cryptos come to know and love, like Plebeject, which has been amazing support to this shockwave that's forming now. We do see the volume is still declining, so the market is drying up, and we need to see that. Just like down here, we need to see the market, volumes decline and dry out the participation before you're going to get any real movement, and we can see that's still happening there. So probably takes a little bit more time before it's really ready to fucking vacate the range. So for now, you just kind of got to be patient, And just like the Shockwave here, you don't know. This one's amplitude, it's much larger, top to the bottom. So the duration of these things are generally going to be bigger. The higher the amplitude, the longer the duration. Much like this guy over here. Right. Size of this shockwave is kind of directly related to the amplitude of the range. So this one's humongous. You know, the recoil from close to 14,000 down to the mid 8s gives them a pretty big fucking range to oscillate in. And you know, this is what we talked about a shockwave. You guys see how clear that is now, right?
Hmm.
Just literally exactly like we talked about. It's literally just a shockwave of human behavior and emotions. My straight line drawing skills have been seriously questionable. So that's all you can really expect of it, right? So that's what you're waiting on. And that's what you're always waiting on when you're in a trend structure like this. Is this maturing right now? We look at this and kind of can see how this moving average in this particular time frame contours the arc. Oh, that's never what I want to do. And now he's kind of violated that. So he's probably in a different resolution of time, holding a different arc if the shockwave is to still be northbound. So let's turn off some of this crap I drew. And is this a larger structure, you know, in a higher resolution to maintain an arc like what's over here? Is this going to be a larger shockwave? This is a larger time period that he's possibly trending in. And this is the first like large scale shockwave of this resolution. Or this is a lower time frame top, and this is legitimately going to stall and kind of trade within the range of like, you know, possibly this entire large scale shockwave over here. If we deviate from the gold fractal. That's one of the things, right? It is widely understood as a gold fractal, but it does have crazy, you know, structural semblance to the gold market. The one thing is everybody now knows about it. So what was once scarce is no longer. So that's my thoughts on it right now. So either he gets up into this range to do what we talked about here, or he doesn't. But for right now, you shouldn't be doing shit with this. If you trade inside of a shockwave at this resolution, unless you come down to a scale of time where these you know, diminishing oscillations and waves become trends again, which is at much lower resolutions, you're just going to get chopped up. So at these levels, yeah, you've got tides and things like that if you want to day trade Bitcoin. But for right now, on the larger time scales, what, you know, most of the world's paying attention to, he's hands off until further notice.
Heard that? Don't touch it. It's hot.
Simple, like, you know, crypto, we talked about this guy. This is the area we thought he could bounce from when we did the other show. This is where he was on that date. And he did. He bounced literally from exactly where we showed it all the way up from that. A good area and volume that we looked at in Litecoin getting down here. A lot of these guys look the same. They were down in like crazy areas from like the beginning of the year or worse. Like XRP had been down there. But that's all it was good for. The pop, whole of crypto again got fucking euphoric and it shit stopped dead. You can see, you know, all these guys had pretty good areas in common because as we talked about with Litecoin, bulk of the market, this is USD based, is all correlated to Litecoin. And they all got to the areas from fucking, you know, the beginning of the year and they bounced a little bit, but it's been a very fucking like, you know, weak bounce to say the least. And if anything else, in this long decline, it's just another bear flag. Like, these look really bad. We can get rid of this guy now. But, you know, one of the things about bear flags we talked about, and you've seen on Instagram, they lean against the trend. and they psychologically track people, right? People go, oh my god, it's alt season right here, and people do that right here, and people do that right here, and they don't believe it when it was actually fucking an alt tide, like, which is all of this, you know, all of this is overlooked. And it's really I guess you could say 2019 alt season, however short lived it was, but that's where it was. And now everyone's screaming alt season, you know, with these connecting tops down, which is what it takes to drive, you know, that sentiment out of the market. So another dump bar out of it, you're still in a downtrend as far as anybody's concerned. This is still a downtrend until further notice, right here. You know, and until that gives way, you don't care. So we've drawn this level in where things have reversed right here. And we don't, you know, for right now, this level this high has driven in a new low here. This is a much lower resolution structure that's going on. Nothing's really occurred that you give a shit about. Until further notice, this hasn't really done shit to change directions meaningfully yet. You know, until like, or at this point, you've actually got like him kind of box range into here. Until that gave way, we wouldn't even care about it until this price got back up here to do something to challenge this level. We wouldn't give a shit about it. So for now, that's what got everybody screaming all season. Pretty much nothing. Anyway, okay, so that's a quick market recap from crypto land. I should cover things you guys are curious about. Right, nothing of real consequences happened yet. You're still kind of just in wait and see mode. You know, break on either side when it breaks the shape of the structure, and you monitor the trend structure of how it leaves. So you clearly haven't been watching any of the previous shows where we've completely gone over how Shockwave's break and trend. So you've got one last show on here, Dastardly World. I recommend you catch that. It's got 2 days left. And we don't keep them up on here because we want you to actually, you know, we put an amazing amount of content in those shows. They're up for 2 weeks, and they, you know, we called the sentiment read on the market when it was down at the beginning of September. There's over $1 trillion market cap gain to the market. Tons of stocks went flying. So timing matters. It matters when we put these shows out, what we talk about, and that it's timely, and also for you to get there. So I don't think you're going to utilize everything that's in one of these shows, but we hope that there's, you know, more than less, because most shows out there don't cover the kind of content we do at the levels we do, and that's what we do to differentiate, is that we put out shit that's far more valuable than most people even realize, because most shows are just about giving you entertainment with no substance. But yeah, go look at the last show. We actually went over Shockwave breakouts, and in this chart, if you're looking at it, you're looking at like price floors. You know, you're right, looking at the rising floors of shockwaves that make trends up. Trends are just series of shockwaves, you know, in waveform, and that's all it is. At any resolution, if you're looking at like just this green moving average, just this tide, and the wave down, as denoted by just the moving average itself, this is a trend in one resolution. I can change the time frame to an hourly, and that moving average is 60, you know, bars of data. Any resolution, it's the same thing. 60 bars of data. A trend is a trend in any resolution that's fractal. You know, in this market system, it looks the same. That's a trend that way, and that's a trend this way. And those aren't different than this trend this way, and this trend this way. They're made up of series of shockwaves that are in sequence, that are in a waveform. So because price is fractal, it doesn't really matter, you know, I have the same moving average on all time frames because 60 periods of data is 60 periods of data in all time frames. It doesn't matter. 50 periods, 60 periods, 40 periods, 20 periods. The behavior of people in all time frames is fractally similar, so they're not going to look different to a simple moving average. So it gives you context to the behavior. All things are just series of shockwaves. That's all you're seeing. Doesn't matter what time frame this is if I didn't tell it to you, right? Bull flag, bull flag. These are just local accumulations and markups from them. That's all trends are built of. What's up?
You didn't switch your.
Oh, so they're not seeing any of that stuff? Oh man. Oh, sorry. Looks like that part's gonna have to fucking be in the next show. Man, it looks really good what I'm doing on the screen right now. I thought this was like so simple. Like you guys have totally okay. Well, we'll catch up on that later. You can't see the screen. I know. Boo. All of that's lost. You'll never understand. I'll never be able to do it the same way twice. You know this is unscripted, right? I have no idea what's going on. Please, please. The secret indicators, Victor. So wrecked. Alright, hang on. Let me fucking save you guys from fucking hanging yourself in the closets. So, alright, you have a trend structure on both halves of this graph. And forget about the fact you know that this is a daily chart. You know, what is a trend? A trend is just a series of shockwaves, like this. You know, at different resolutions. These guys are different time frames. But that's what a trend is, right? It's a series of shockwaves. Just like you see up here, on the way back up. And you're trying to just trade into that structure. Now you gotta remember, it doesn't really matter the resolution. This is the daily structures. You can go down to a lower resolution structure and it doesn't change anything, right? This is still the same thing. And you're trading this overall trend, right? It doesn't matter the periodicity of the moving average. You know, this is not an exponential or any kind of secret moving average. It's just to give context of price, because we already know that like 100 idiots don't behave differently than 1,000,000 idiots. So the only thing that changes in time scale is the amount of idiots that are in the waveform. So if that's the case, then you know the waveform is going to be fractally similar at all time scales. That's what you do know. So that's your trend up, and your trend down is made of the exact same shit, right? It's made of just shockwaves heading down.
Made of a bunch of idiots.
So we go back to your daily chart, and this is all price is, right? What I just showed you there, this is a microcosm of what you're seeing on this time scale. Do you see it? It's a fractally similar behavior. There's just more people in the bigger time frames. That's all that changes from time frame to time frame, is that more humans or less humans can do the same behaviors. So price is only made of people doing the same things, you know, in all time frames. When you look at it that way, and you look at what a trend structure is, you know, trading into a daily, trading into an hourly, the logic and the management of risk and everything about it doesn't change. That's why people who think investing versus trading is different don't understand what they're talking about. It's just behavior. Forget about the time scale. So you are trying to understand how price goes into a markup from an area of accumulation at any resolution of price.
That is such an important lesson and perspective in seeing this thing.
Does that make sense to you guys? Now that I have it on the screen for you, I don't have you left in the dark.
I could have just not said anything.
You could have.
I'm a nice guy.
G going on 8 months. Green, that's what's up.
8 months. Let me share my lunch. Based Henry. Crash Bandicoot. I swear, Bandicoots.
There's Bandicoot.
Bandicoot.
So who's got any questions about that? That was your question about Shockwaves.
That's definitely like an aha moment if people got that one. That's like, yes, you're right.
Anybody get a new insight from that at all or no? What is going on right now? Okay. I guess not.
No, I was like, I'm not seeing.
There's 100 of you here. Nobody had an aha moment looking at that. Okay. I guess we'll move on.
You got DL Street video saying, can you expand on enter technically trigger fundamentally?
Okay. I can. Pretty simple. You know, regardless of the biases you have about what you believe on your quote unquote good projects, there's still a mechanical way that price moves, which I just showed you on the chart, you know, from accumulation to markup, accumulation to markups. And that is the reality of how a wave unfolds. So regardless of what your belief structures are, there still has to be a technical structure that makes sense for you to help you define risk and enter prices. So that's all that really means, is like, you know, look at the graph, and regardless of whatever the fuck is going on Twitter or people are feeding you or CNBC saying or anybody's telling you, the graph tells you a story about the people in itself. And that story is first and foremost, you know, read the price, not the news. The price is people, and the price is the people's interpretation of that news. And it's everybody's belief structure, from the smart guy, you know, the Warren Buffett of the system, to the dumbest motherfucker out there. They're all part of this graph. So this graph has everything in it.
It really does.
How can you get a count on how many people are investing? I don't know if that's even important. There are definitely metrics to go to figure out how much of the volume is, you know, real, and how many people are in there. But to figure out who's, you know, hedging, who's not, who's taking a direct position, who's unwinding, you don't really have access to enough information to tell you that. Nor is it like necessary to figure out what's going on in price either. But volume, yeah, obviously, that would be your starting point, right? What else you got? What else you got?
You got DL Stream says, what do you mean by markup?
Okay, so he's never seen anything before. So, I mean, go over it again. Markup in price. So, where did it go? Where'd it go? Well, you're looking at on the chart, right?
Just in case, don't forget to switch the monitor.
I did, bitch. I'm on it. I'm with it. So, you know, all you're seeing really in these periods where price is sideways in the shockwave is the chance for a market participant to accumulate the position they want in a slower moving market, because smart money can't really do much, you know, when price is rapidly changing at this speed. You'd be forced into accumulating all of your position at really rapidly changing prices. So your smartest money participates in the slowest parts of the market, and your most emotional money participates in what is the markup of these shockwaves, or what you could consider a localized monopoly of a system. Let's see, then I have one here that has it. So when you look at like a volume profile, which is the volume at price, not the volume at time that's on the bottom, right? This is volume at time, which measures volume vertically at what time it occurs. This is volume at price. This tells you just how much shit traded at this level. And because on the screen right now we have a ton of stuff that's really just, all these shockwaves right here in this range, they are showing like a high concentration of volume. The highest concentration though is at the lows. So let me take some of that off, that's confusing as fuck. So what you're looking at like is the place where the greatest participation happens is in the most stable prices. These ranges, you see that price basically, there's not a lot of time because price is moving rapidly through these ranges to have any real playership there. So this is your markup. Think of it like a place that I could accumulate like a bunch of vehicles, in an area market, and I could mark them up to emotional people with a TV commercial to buy them off me up here. And people who accumulate here after people, lose their emotions about buying these cars here, maybe I can accumulate them again and mark it up again here and get emotional people to show up and buy it from me yet again. And that's what you're looking at, is local monopolies of perceptions at these different levels. The people who think BTC is really great at 400 versus the people who think BTC is great at 1500 versus the people who think BTC is great at 6800, until you get people who are like BTC can't be stopped at fucking 20,000 and it's going to be fucking Bitcoin tomorrow and fuck the bankers and oh my god. So these are shockwaves of perception. These are people's belief structures that are able to be marked up against their belief into the marketplace to make a profit. This is how money's made in markets, an arbitrage of people's perceptions. So shockwave, markup, shockwave, markup, shockwave, markup. Hopefully that makes sense.
We have one from Leon Flows. Says, so now that the shockwave is drying out in BTC, that is going to be the phase where you decide to participate?
Again, every single resolution you look at, when I went from the daily to the hourly, there are shockwaves in sequence and trends. So you're going to participate, at the resolution that you basically decide your risk on. That daily one is obviously huge. Him leaving that's going to be hopefully a large scale trend that goes in whatever direction it goes in. That's what you obviously look for from a shockwave is a large markup. The markup is where your big money's made. BTC through the arc of 2017 is shockwaves and huge markups along the way. And your big easy money was the main markup of the latter part of 2017. You ideally want to always be in that if you could be, right? You don't want to be in a shockwave that takes years to resolve itself for months and then hope for the best on the exit. The easiest money of a bull market's made when it's hauling ass. So ideally, you do want to participate when the markup begins because the population that's going to be marked up is hopefully going to feed your position if you're not, on the majority side of the marketplace. So you got to think about what resolution of time does that matter in? Since the behavior is the same at all scales of time, there are markups going on in the 5-minute chart. The periodicity in which you choose to take your trade is going to be based on your own risk management and business plan. Some of us have time to sit around and trade intraday. Some of you don't. So that's probably where you're going to start thinking about how exactly do you participate in this and what your capacities are. But the behavior you're dealing with at all scales of time is ubiquitous. So it doesn't matter. What you're learning is markets are fractal, human behavior is fractal. So now you can take the scalar fractal and make it fit whatever your plans are. All right. So, what else you got? Yeah, this is some decent knowledge bombs for you guys to think about. Yeah. So, that being said, let's go take a look at what time is it right now. 5:25. All right. Let's look at some different markets. I've almost lost all feeling in my ears. I told you why, right?
Speculation.
Oh my god, it's fucking wrecked, bro. When you identify a change in trend on time scales you are playing and found a restriction to play, trade goes in your way, your exit price is yet now hit. Do you move stops from the last lows because sometimes you can just break the structure once and get back in, but sometimes... Damn, Qual, that's a serious question, huh? Your risk management along the trend structure, I guess, is going to be subject to how you decide to do it. You exit partially when you're up X factor over risk. Do you partially exit along the trend? Do you keep everything break even and as soon as you can and then let the whole position ride? Those are all kind of, I guess, like stylistic specifics that are subject to each person. You should, lock in as you move along. You never want to give back an entirely great trend structure and have it come all the way back and take you out. If nothing else, you should cut enough of the position to leave what you leave behind a free roll if you do that. So there's different ways, I guess, to go about that. Okay, thanks. What are some pointers to know if you're going to be up for, if it's going to be up for that? Because the emotional markup, well, all you really do know is that a trend in motion is likely to continue. So the statistics behind finding the end of a trend are ridiculous, which is what makes people calling tops to massive bull tides like retarded, because there's only going to be one candle that's the right thing, and God knows how many fucking candles till it arrives. So hunting for that is statistically anomalous that you're going to be able to find it. So that makes it inherently dangerous. So identifying that a trend is in motion is a benefit for the sheer fact that you're not likely to find the last bar of it. Where'd it go? One sec. See, good questions, give good conversation. I like that. Where the fuck did this?
You definitely have one weirdo now.
Huh?
You definitely attracted one weirdo. This one guy goes, "Can you be my dad?"
I didn't see that. Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird. No. What the fuck that? Not what I'm expecting. So like up here, like, so this is Litecoin. Something we mentioned in many streams is that, like, let's say it takes you a while to even recognize that this is the bottom of the market happening, and you don't see it until like this huge fucking surge of volume pumps LTC out to like 45. He's already up like fucking nearly 100% off the lows. But you could discover from here and still from that point have, to the very highest bar, 134 days of trend. So your ability to call the end of this is going to literally be 1 in 134 fucking bars. It's less than a 1% chance you're going to find the bar that is the end of it. So identifying a trend in motion gives you all of this time to play. You don't have to have had, this range down here at all. Running out of colors. Definitely not different enough. You have all of this time to formulate a plan to play on. And same thing as when I took it down to different resolution, right? You didn't have to figure out anything about where this trend failed to start working on a plan to participate in this much price action. That's why identifying a trend is important. That's hideous drawings, I know. But your goal is that, you only have one bar that ends it. So identifying a trend allows you a chance to play, and it's not that, because this guy here could go this way or could go that way, that you necessarily are making a plan constantly for this situation. If you're playing a trend, then the statistics are in your favor in the directionality of price. So I'm not really looking to play that guy that way, that guy that way. That's how you get people who go off season and get fucked up and stuff like this. If I know that this entire structure is down, then the odds are in my favor playing down. And if it happens to fucking exit this way, then I can wait for it to fucking establish itself, killing a trend and structuring out to turn and do something else, because it doesn't just turn usually in a dime like that. it's going to take some time to reverse its structures and give you something to fucking make a plan around. So it's about what resolution do you define the waveform that you're going to figure out, like in what periodicity you need to make your plans. That was really complicated, but simple if you actually paid attention. Too many drawings, Victor.
Did he just say periodicity? Big words.
Big perm. All right. Dr. D, don't help that situation alive. I've been like looking at markets probably since I'm like younger than 10 years old. It's because I had relatives that worked in the market. But I'm really good at pattern recognition, and so I kind of started learning to read price, I guess, in college, and realized there was something more to it than like what looked like random chaos on the charts at that point. But as far as like understanding behavior and the depths of it in price, let's say that came like probably after 2004, starting to see it in people's behavior in the Euro USD bull market and the gold bull market also. And I don't know, it's blending along as time moved forward. Is there a typical time volume structure that fractals follow? Like, do you want the easy answer that if it does this, it's going to last this long, so be ready? No, but there's a geometry to price that's the reason we outline the Shockwave structures, because we can kind of see that. Let me see if I can clear some of this stuff out. I'll talk about it here, I guess, on this wave. This is a pretty good chart to look at. I wish I had just like an eraser. You could fucking just click through it like this. I'll leave that. So if you notice, like, your shockwaves, they have like slightly different shapes, but the amplitudes make sense with the duration. Like what I'd drawn just over here a minute ago. Hang on. Damn, I drew a lot of shit. So you can kind of see like the range, just from like here to here.
Not sharing.
Oh, god damn it. Alright. It wasn't meant to be, guys.
It just wasn't meant to.
What the hell just happened there? Okay. Respect Peter Sid. Appreciate the bits, Chief.
500.
Let's see, where did it go? Screen share. How do you measure people's sentiment other than watching on social? Just talking to people. Talking to all of you here.
Oh, Space Cash 27.
Oh, look at that. Gifted you guys a sub. That's pretty cool shit. Where is it? Screen chat. There it is. Power Stone. Respect. Alright, so when you look at it, like, what I was trying to say is the amplitude of like here, this purple level goes, right? This blue level, we look at the floor, there's shockwave. What's going on here? Shockwave that tests it. On this one, like the amplitude, the range of it. Has a direct relationship on the geometry of the shockwave that you're going to get from it, right? The amplitude is ridiculous, you get a ridiculous shockwave. Right, this guy here has like this insane size crash, and it's a fractal thing, so it's on this scale of time that we happen to be looking, but there's all kinds of shockwaves along the way to make this overall much larger one. He's only made of other shockwaves at different resolutions. you know. But this guy first starts off making this, and then, you know, slowly turning into that as he evolves across time. Sorry, that was not what I meant to do there. So it's an unfolding thing. You got to think about in hindsight. You not know what he looks like, but he was turning into many things across time. You know, this would have fooled many people that alt season was back. So did this. And all of these are, you know, failing structures that are effectively like bear flags at other resolutions if I zoom further out. So it matters the time frame you look at it, but you're having shockwaves unfolding in all time frames that are creating other shockwaves in other time frames. So context matters, and that's why kind of understanding like what time frame to look at it in, and what you're actually trying to look for, what you play, that you play markups from, you know, areas of stability, that you're going to then have to formulate a plan that makes this make sense, because you're going to see the same thing from the 1 minute chart all the way up to the fucking 1 day chart. So what exactly is your plan? That's going to matter a lot more. Get what I'm saying?
Makes a lot of sense.
So that's why, you know, respect the geometry of price is something that we've said before, and this is kind of like showing you that there is a geometry to price. Right, shockwaves and shockwaves, fractals. Exactly. And it is kind of crazy. Do you ever catch for local tops or bottoms if you have very strong confluence reasons, or always play along the trend? Even when you know where the top or bottom should be, and you know, I'm known for predicting tops and bottoms for many things, you still have to have a way to define risk to get yourself in there. You know, if you think like, hey, the stock is falling and $65 should be the low area, you could pierce the area by 16 cents. It could pierce it by 2 points. How you're going to participate in that's going to, you know, have to be a risk-adjusted rationale to get yourself into an area. It doesn't matter that you could call it to the penny. Your goal isn't to try and execute the one-hit wonder to the penny anyway, because even the statistics aren't behind you to keep doing that across time. You know, you're not going to build a career off of like the singularity movement. It's going to be based on risk-adjusted performance into tides that originate from whatever the fuck time scale that you discover it. So even from a fucking tip of the spear move, like, you know, what can happen with the top of like BTC, your participation to the downside is still going to be a risk-adjusted trade into an unfolding trend that starts at the top of the market. So hopefully that answers your question. Poke Mutley? You don't want to poke Mutley. But yeah, Twitter's a great place. Most social media, people willingly share their emotions to measure sentiment. It's not hidden, and you know, most people share similar sentiments. So you have plenty of places to, you know, gather that kind of data that's in front of your face all the time. And if anything, you're hiding it from yourself. But there is no scarcity of, you know, avenues to study the sentiment of markets. It's comprised of human behavior, and most people are of the same makeup, and you know, that itself should give you a huge amount of resources available to you all day, every day.
Yep.
So, all right, that was a lot of info really quick. How long have we been on? Look, 52 minutes. That was a decent amount of content packed into a short show. I know you guys have attention span issues, so trying to keep it to where you don't glaze out on me. I know my Americans are pissed off because this shit seems like it's only meant for people in the fucking bottom of the planet.
Fucking Yankees.
But you got 2 weeks to catch up on this. Don't be a slacker. If the Dow bull market comes to an end, there's a lot of places it could go. Do I need to care and speculate and guess that? Not really. I kind of just look at it when it shows itself, and that's what I'll deal with. All that speculation gets you caught up in like lots of biases and starting to worry about whether or not your speculation has become right or wrong, instead of worrying about what the market's actually doing. And that's what people have been doing for 10 years when they can't pay attention to a bull market. That the real question is, have you actually participated in a 10-year bull market, or are you still trying to figure out where the end's at? And that question is crazy, because The Dow bull market blows away any fucking bull market that has been in any of your lifetimes that are in this fucking video right now, and none of you are asking how you participated in it. You're still waiting for alt season while dodging the biggest bull market of your entire lifetimes. And you can tell that's sentiment reading. By the question you just asked me, that's crazy to me. It's because nobody asked me how to find their way into the biggest trend of all times. They just keep asking, when's it going to be over and where do you think it's going to go? I get that question nonstop. Does anyone ever ask how the fuck to get into this thing? Come on. Like, that's been happening. And no one's asking about, like, man, is this going to keep going? Like, think how excited everyone is at BTC 20K, and think how not excited everybody is up there.
Oh, everybody's scared up here, man.
Do you even realize how big this bull market actually is? Like, really, really try to wrap your head around this. You've never seen anything like this. It's a decade-long bull market, and you're, like, in the high candle, and you're like, when's it going to end? Were any of you asking that shit at Bitcoin 20,000? And Bitcoin was in a bull arc like that for a calendar year, and everyone couldn't believe it and thought it would never end. This is in a bull arc for fucking a decade. Some of you couldn't drink alcohol when this started. Some of you can't drink alcohol right now.
Right now, yeah.
Do you even understand? You would have fucking been learning how to fucking do multiplications and shit when this is down here, and you're like, well, when's it gonna end? Have you been into any of this at all? That whole shockwave thingy we talked about, all the way up, different resolutions of it.
Yeah, 7,000. Oh, people. Oh.
Right? Come down to weeklies, you can see that a bit better. Check a couple of the big ones. Come on, let up. Turtle shit. You waiting for this thing to end? Where do you think it's gonna go? I don't know. Right now, all he knows, you could do this, and you could do that. Have you really thought about this thing? It is the biggest bull market of all of your lifetimes. All of your lifetimes. All of your lifetimes. Do you even understand this? This is back to 1981. All of your lifetimes.
So
that no one can think of. This is how you hide something in plain sight. It's not hidden. Like, oh my fucking god. How many people keep talking about the end of the bankers, the end of fiat, the end of this, the end of that? Have you even looked at what the fuck you have been talking about right now? See this big ass doobie over here? You see it, right? My doobie?
Yeah, it's fucking smoke coming
That's
out.
the last time you saw something like this, right? Look at this shit. 20 years of people wondering when the world was going to end. Here's another 10 years of that same shit.
Oof, man.
Bull markets,
Yeah.
trends are built on the dead bodies of those too ignorant to get out of the way of their own biases. Do you know what it takes to make a fucking 100-year bull market that everyone's sure is going to end at every fucking minute? Really look at this. You know how they put Bitcoin in those logarithmic charts all the time? Well, here's the United States in one for 100 years. When's that going to end, Roger? When, Roger? Save me, Roger! Think about that. When's that going to end? You serious? When you're on another planet. Fuck the moon. They're going after shit bigger than the moon right now.
That is a long ass bull market. Oh, so Outback Bandit asks, what exactly is a bull market?
Google it. Look at Bandy Boo. He's giving it all away. You would think so until you see the question, what is a bull market, Bandy? Then you realize.
No, it's like, really?
How can you participate in the Dow Bull? Find shit that's in trend of the Dow Bull and fucking make a risk-adjusted choice to participate in it. I'm talking about it the entire time. Are we okay? I cannot give it all away if I tried. Like, is anyone listening to any of what I'm saying?
You could point it right here.
I'm telling you exactly how to look at a trend structure and how to look at shockwaves in various resolutions. I'm actually showing you incredibly in detailed shit about it. What are you guys asking me? Is anybody listening to this crap? Like, how long markup lasts? Acceleration. It's specific to the resolution of time frame you're in, you know, but there are obviously shorter periods of time than the time it takes to accumulate the position to do it. If you looked at what I showed you, a shockwave, look right here, you know, on the screen that I'm showing you. Shockwave to the markup is what you're watching, and you're in another one of these, you know, these doobie-like motions right here. Holy shit, I forgot logarithmic changes the shape of it. That's all you're watching, right? In these cases, like the shockwaves and the markups actually are at similar durations of time. But clearly your markup is happening at a more rapid speed with less time for you to figure it out, and by the time you figure it out, many people arrive at the very end of these things. So if you think about where fucking the US went internet crazy about like the internet bubble, it's really the last 2 years, right? And really the final year, 1999. Much like Bitcoin in 2017, it's the very tail end of the arc. So the whole world thought like, you know, internet stocks are going to change the world and it was never going to stop pumping right here. Killing me, Smalls. Right there at 1999. And this entire 10-year pump from Obama to Trump, people have just been betting on the end of the world the entire way. That is not too different than 1981 through 1989, you know. You're dealing with like a real crazy crisis in the Middle East, and you're dealing with like a Cold War situation and some really scary shit at the time with the nuclear threats. So the world is kind of like in the same psychological state, you know, in this period. They think the end of the world is imminent. Crazy alarm system. So that's the market at a glance on pretty high time frames. So the NASDAQ. This chart goes back to what, 1986. This is a logarithmic chart also. So that's the internet bubble right there at the top, the crash of the internet bubble, and what's happened since. And people think it's the end of the world at any given moment. Really look at this graph and tell me if you didn't know the news flow right now. That graph looks at the end of the world. Has absolutely destroyed the internet pump.
Yep.
And this is 6 months. This is half-year increments. We've been up every fucking half year since 2012. 7 fucking years of that. That's insane. And the media has had you thinking it's going to explode under Obama from all of this entire run. Gold climaxed in August of 2011 here, and from that point they've had gold bulls talking about buy gold for this entire fucking move. Really fucking think that through. Like literally the most ridiculous bull market. And if you overlay gold onto this and really look at it, what gold bulls have fucking redirected people on.
Ugh, man.
That was a big mistake. That's gold. See, if you bought gold and listened to these people since it fucking topped, it's about where gold topped, and scoop forward and just look at it. So I took off. Here's the relative performance of gold. At the point I marked it, because it's close to 1,500 at the time. Gold's down basically 2.4%, while the Nasdaq ran 244%.
Hey.
That's a bull market. While gold hodlers have been telling you the same stupid shit as like fucking just hodl, just hodl, just hodl. It's like one of the biggest missed opportunities ever. Nearly a decade of it, just from that point, not even from the very bottom. But that's tech. The world is tech driven. We're moving towards robotics, AR, asteroid mining, off-world, crazy shit. So what do you think is pushing that? What technology?
Yep.
Not some fucking dead-ass fucking coin that's not doing anything. This is a real bull market. This is a multi-fucking generational bull market. With high and low things of a shockwave play into how long uplegs last. You never write anything? Well, that's good, man. If you don't have questions about this stuff, then you're not paying attention, because there's a lot of stuff here that I know you've never heard. And if you see this for the first time, you should have some questions. I never learned anything by writing, just helps out because English isn't my first language. Deal streams, I'd read some more stuff on the blog. I pretty much explained much of what should answer a lot of those questions. I think you should probably just rewatch it and kind of look at it. I guess don't get super focused in on like one detail while missing the entire concept I'm trying to show you about looking at shockwaves and markups from shockwaves, scale of the shockwaves and different time frames. All of that together kind of gives you a framework to understand that you're dealing with a scalar fractal, a behavior that's the same in all time frames. It only differs in the amount of people that can participate in it, and that's going to be subject to the resolution of time you look at it in. So review this again. Most of what you're trying to wrap your head around, probably because it's the first time, is making you ask like questions like that, but the entirety of what I spoke about should answer that question. And then getting into like looking at the volume and the shockwave and volumes, watch the show before and watch this show again, and you should learn a lot with that all. Not a standard duration fractal L. It's just more about, following your plan and managing risk until you don't have a reason to be there anymore and your plan is no longer in play. That's it. You could be in a trade that lasts fucking years off the right risk entry, and you could be in one that fucking lasts like no time at all, both in the same time frame. So it's just about fucking following your plan. Try not to give yourself too many expectations. Let the play unfold,
Yeah, those blogs are, man, they're treasure troves. And it's still out there in public for everybody to see.
So where do I see negative interest rates heading? Can we really head towards global negatives? Yeah, Bandy, ask whatever questions. And you did ask what a bull market was, and we told you to use Google, because basic questions like that in the modern age of walking around with a supercomputer in your pocket, you shouldn't get to anywhere in life in 2019 and ask basic definitions that you can Google. In fucking 1996, I can understand if you had to ride to the library to get a dictionary. This isn't 1996. So, part of learning how to fucking help yourself is learning how to fucking help yourself. So we're trying to help you. We could tell you what it is, but that doesn't help you. That just keeps you asking questions that you could solve on your own. And part of learning, how to deal with yourself in markets is learning bad habits like being lazy, which is what that was. So we're not trying to shame you. We're trying to help you fucking go do some things that most people don't do, which is like lift a finger to help themselves.
Yep.
Interest rates, yeah, they can go negative. I think Greenspan said it, and I think he's probably the smartest guy in the room when it comes to central banks. The reality is Buffett had said it best that interest rates act like gravity in asset prices. High interest rates pull hard on asset prices, low interest rates help to inflate them. The world is kind of running towards negative. Europe has been in negative for quite some time, and that leaves room in the differential between similar bonds in different countries to drive interest rates down deeper and force asset prices even higher. Right now you're in a hell of a markup, as you see what's on the chart that I showed you, and we're working to go off the planet, so you need money creation to keep on creating new infrastructures. So I do think they can go towards that. The Fed chairman today, Powell was saying that he doesn't see that need being a necessary tool, but then he left it open to being a tool that they could use anyway. And it's not off the table for them. Streaming wars. Disney Plus just launched in your country. Is Disney Plus launched already anywhere? I thought that wasn't happening until November.
November.
Streaming wars is what it looks like. It's fucking like kicking the shit out of Netflix. If you guys saw the chart we put up on Instagram, Netflix is getting fucking wrecked from fucking streaming wars. So they have shitty content, and now they have fucking multi-fucking national companies walking in the door. Apple is nearly $1 trillion company, or is a $1 trillion company that's now in Netflix's space. I think that changes the dynamic a lot. Apple, streaming arcade games to fucking nearly 900 million users and having fucking service for television. CBS is coming in there, NBC's going in there, Amazon's in there. There's so many fucking avenues now in streaming. Streaming is a wide open marketplace. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount of competition that's actually inside streaming, and different versions of it too. But we talked about that, last year, that streaming would be the future, and you're seeing it now. Streaming literally has massive companies coming into settlement. Microsoft's coming into this market. It's not going to stop. What do I think about Ray Dalio's paradigm shift? I don't give a shit about Ray Dalio's paradigm shift. Fuck do you keep asking that for? I ignored it the first time for a reason. Well, you come to my station to ask me about what other people think of bullshit. I don't give a shit. What do you think about any of this shit I said in this entire show that you haven't asked a single question about? How about that one?
That's the question.
I got a question for you since you want to repeat that one twice. What do you think of any of the crap I just said in this entire fucking hour? Crypto BT. You want to drop big guys in suits on TV and ask me questions about bullshit, or you want to ask a fucking snowman what he thinks of charts? Like, do you even understand the fucking entire reason that I appear on the station this way? Who gives a fuck about what anybody says? Information stands on its own 2 feet. Fuck the goddamn messenger. Why would I be concerned by the Fed's repo into the market?
Oh, man.
What do you think? Read Carlos Magico's statement. Why would the Fed's repo action in the market concern you? I've seen people freak out about that $75 billion repo. Why is that bad or good? Anybody give me a reason why that number becomes bad or good? Octendra, you can still distort the message if you like the messenger too much. What the fuck was that?
I guess Crypto BT doesn't want to say anything.
No more questions, BT? Alrighty then. Go to Ray's station and ask him what the fuck he thinks of his paradigm. Just like a ridiculous question. Who gives a shit what I think about Ray Dalio's paradigm shift? I don't give a shit about Ray Dalio's paradigm shift. It does show liquidity issues, right? The repo market was the fact that there were short-term liquidity issues. But what makes the number 75 billion bad? The fact that everyone heard of it immediately meant that crisis. Do you know how much fucking various market operation events have gone on since 2012 for that bull tide to take place? There's dollar debt globally. The dollar debt's been growing the entire time you've been alive. Have you seen what the dollar debt looks like for the last 100 years? When is the debt too much? When is the debt number too high? Where do people get the idea that there is this point that like the number is now finally too big? Like the entire fucking lifetime of the market. Where did this go? Do you have any idea what kind of debt creation has gone on for this to happen? Do you know how many people have dropped dead waiting for it to be too much? Just try to think about it like that. When Ronald Reagan was in office, he raised the debt ceiling 8 times. This is Ronald Reagan, end of Ronald Reagan's presidency right here where I am. Now, some of you are like not even old enough to know who Ronald Reagan is. And you're going to tell me about the repo rate, and do you see how much money it was? Do you know how many fucking versions of you it takes to make up this gigantic 100-year bull pump? How many people do you think said, swear to God, there's too much debt in the United States for 100 fucking years? When will you stop doing that exactly? When exactly?
I stopped when I clicked that link to join the church.
Like, think about this, right? There's a little bull flag up here too. You can see it, right? This is what makes up bull markets. People who keep talking directly out of their fucking sphincter. With no idea what any of those numbers mean. Well, 75 billion has a BCAS. So this one's really big. That's what the B is for. It's for 75 big ones. So that is Armageddon. This is the analysis. So the number's really big. Really? You have no point of reference to know that's actually a fucking bad number or a good number. None. And that's been the case all the way. Obama just got 3.5 trillion cash with a T. That's not even a B. That's a fucking T. That's for terrible. T for terrible. 3.5 terrible ones. Right? Because these numbers I've never heard. So, oh my God, it's the biggest one ever. Oh my God, numerology's a thing. That's what the fuck that is, right? Just because you've never heard a number that big does not equal bad. Good and bad are subjective. And if you have a limited point of view, then yes, it's always going to be the worst thing in history, because as history unfolds, the most humans ever exist at this moment. At this moment. At this moment. At this moment. At this moment, the human population and the consumption of that population has been growing fucking at exponential rates for 100 years. So everything that you experience nominally is the worst version of it in all of history. The greatest amount of deaths from this particular famine, the greatest amount of disease, the greatest amount of everything, because there's more of you than fucking ever. Perspective matters.
Yes, it does.
That is the problem. It is hashtag crazy, the conversations people are having. They don't have the perspective to have the conversation. So I had to do it like that so you gain some perspectives. So hopefully I gave you some perspectives on that.
Fuck your sister, Paul.
Tell your sister she can like lick it, and she can do that for free if she wants. Got anything useful to contribute?
Seriously?
Somebody send his sister the eggplant emoji. Give a fuck. I don't give a shit what Ray Dalio thinks, and I damn sure don't give a fuck what your sister thinks. Who is she? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
That's hilarious.
How much do you, how much does your sister fuck? You should tell your sister to shut the fuck up.
That'd be the best advice she gets today. Somebody else? Any other questions, or is that it? I can tell you this: if you keep pushing your sister's stupid shit in my chat, I'll remove you from it. You can go learn this shit somewhere else. Don't let that dumb bitch cost you fucking opportunity, bro. Control that horse.
Bro, you about to miss out on the biggest opportunity just because your sister's running her mouth.
Right? I asked you a question about the show. You want to tell me what some stupid horse saying? I don't give a fuck, bro. Control that bitch. Why have most Americans not benefited from the bull market? Because most of them are what makes up the ability for it to mark up. They don't participate. Their doubt is what allows it to be where it is. Most people don't benefit from bull markets. That's a huge misunderstanding. I don't know why most people think that. In every bull tide you see, most people don't believe what they're seeing the entire time it's unfolding until it's too late. And you've seen that, in just Bitcoin.
But they sure feel it when that bear market hit.
Any tips specifically on trading Dow futures? If you're inexperienced, don't.
Good advice.
So go ahead and ban Qual since he won't stop doing that. He's just trolling us.
Oh, bad.
Just get him off.
This is my favorite thing to do right here. A ban.
So if you came to this fuck off and trying to insult us in the show, you're just gonna get banned. If it's worth it for you for the 5 minutes, whatever. And that would be perception of value issues right there, right?
Yep.
Some people change their life with what's here. Some people fucking do that. And that's why most people don't benefit from a bull market. Most people do that. You can learn something from everything you see. Well, Dow futures just require good discipline, right? extraordinarily highly leveraged instruments. So if you're trading it like in certain places, you can trade up to like 300x leverage, and not that leverage equals more damage. It just means that your discipline needs to be fucking fire. So it's not necessarily the thing you need to go towards first. It's probably something that will take you time to get to.
No need to rush, man.
Well, congrats on making it to your first live stream. Hope you learned a lot from it. Definitely go over it and check out some of the stuff we did. We're at an hour and 24, 6 a.m. So I think we're going to wrap here. When the trolls come out, it's generally a good time to close it up. So if somebody has actual questions for the entire stream, that's all we actually got there. That's kind of shitty. But hopefully the rest of you that did pay attention, you learned some stuff, as always, in all of these streams. It would be a good idea to invest in penny stocks. I mean, penny stocks are like the shitcoin market, right? They're inherently a lot riskier. Much of them are for like bullshit companies. They're not rigorously screened to get listed on the exchanges they're on. That's why they're on OTCs. So all of your risks go up in that world. They are long only. You don't have a lot of them that you can short, but I don't think that's the best place for you to go. Honestly, the stock market where there is at least some kind of standards for getting companies listed, and you still have scam bucket companies that get listed, it's probably a better place to start where you don't have like exchange risk like you do in crypto. The whole exchange can vanish with your money. There is all kinds of scams behind the coins. So I think the stock market's honestly a good place. It's limited to 6.5 hours a day. You can like structure a life around it. You can learn to define risk, and you don't have to stare at it for 24 hours a day. Liquidity is, a bit better in some of the bigger instruments, some of the bigger blue chip companies. So there are certain things that kind of like at least let you just deal with the price unfolding and get to handle that versus dealing with like some of those other risks you'll introduce if you go into like things like, shit coins or penny stocks first. You're dealing with a lot of other ways to get fucked out of your money before you worry about even getting your analysis right. So I think kind of like start where the least risks are in your face, That would be the best thing I could tell you.
I don't know if that's an evil thing I just did.
What'd you do?
I gave him a fake invite link to do.
Why would you do that shit?
No, I put like fake invite. Like I put the Discord thing and then /fake invite. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Right.
Somebody was asking for it. I'm not sorry.
You're not sorry. Henry's never sorry.
I did it all for the laughs. Somebody actually clicked.
Mutley Choja. Okay, that one's real. First 25.
That's also fake.
So possibly. Be quick. So yeah, we do things in voice. If you join the link, jump in voice, say hi to people who are there. We do things in conversation because one of the interesting things about all the text and all the crypto Twitter is that there's a lot of information lost in translation, and voice is just a much more direct way to do the communications, to learn things if you're trying to learn things. That's why we do these streams the way we do, with good visuals and hopefully enough description and voice for you to get context to this information in a meaningful way. So if you guys don't have anything else, we're probably gonna wrap.
Wrap it up, B.
So also have an avatar, and like I said, anybody who's trying to get to that tier 3, it'll have to come to the Discord where we at least meet you because of trolls like we just banned in the show, and various ones we get from Twitter that keep coming back through. We have to at least know who you are. So thanks for the biz fact to all. Hope you guys like the content this one, and we'll be back probably later this week. You'll see us again. That is Legends of Winter Edition. Make money.